you 1,800 fans. Thanks for joining us. So here's another video for you, and Tarron is going to be sharing with you some of the forces that he has picked to take on me. All right, so here we are.
Did I swoosh?
No, about to do it. Okay. So choosing a force for Tarron to take versus me. Go.
Now, we did the Lance Building 101 thing.
Yeah.
And I will tell you some things that instantly popped into my head because they're not really going to be much of a shock. It was close quarters. Okay, so this is going to be a compound. The compound is going to be my focus. Okay, I'm not ranging all over the place. I'm not doing big fancy things going like miles that way, hundreds of hexes, anything like that. I don't really need long-range missiles because I'm going to be in minimum range for all my long-range missiles. And I never said that we were going to do hot loading, so, you know, technically I can't. I'd have to ask you real nice and then you'll know what I'm taking. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to look through minis that I have access to and that I know reasonably well can do close combat damage, right? Now, when I initially thought close combat damage, one of the ones that came up for me is always the Hunchback, right? The Hunchback always comes up as close combat damage.
Yep.
Okay. Anything that is Act 20 involved will come up as close quarters combat. But I didn't want to, it's not a waste, but I'm going to say waste because it's the most accurate thing. I didn't want to waste BV on something like a Saladin or a Hetzer or something like that, right? I want something that's hopefully going to survive at least for a little while. I want at least 2, because we're allowed 4 units.
Yeah, 4 units, yeah.
I want at least 2 things that are going to have a chance of surviving. But I also wanted some fun stuff.
Of course.
Now, one that may or may not come up for you guys when you think close quarters combat is one that actually springs almost second or third to my mind when I think close quarters combat, because it's very similar to the Hunchback, except that it does more damage. And that is this little fella.
Ah, yes.
The Komodo. There's 10 medium lasers on that thing. That's 50 points of damage, and I'm pretty sure, from memory, he's got enough heat sinks that he can fire all of them and only build up like 4 or 5 points of heat.
I think 8 was about the limit.
Yeah.
From memory.
I think he's got enough heat sinks that he can fire almost all of them every single turn. And if he does fire all of them, he only builds up a little bit. No. He'll have a movement penalty. But he also has an ECM, and that was going to come in important here because at the beginning of the scenario, I can flick that to ECCM, and it will block somebody else's ECM when they cross.
That's right.
So as long as you've only got 1 unit with an ECM, I'm okay.
Okay, so Komodo, so the KIM-2?
Yes,
2, the basic one?
Yep.
7.7 million C-bills. 45 tons, 585 movement, so jump's nice. 10 million lasers, 2 anti-missile systems, a tag and a guardian ECM.
It's cool.
That is very cool. So 14 double heat sinks.
Yeah, so that's 28 heat dissipation.
Oh, yeah, so
that's
just
30 is the amount of heat you're building up, so you're over by 2.
Whoa!
As long as you don't jump.
You'll do it, yeah.
As long as you only either walk or run, you can fire everything there, and you will not build up too much heat for a good couple of rounds.
Yeah.
It's a great little mech.
Yeah, it's funny, because they designed it to go after battle armor and stuff. We talked about it in some of the earlier videos. Its armor is not as high, but
no,
for hunting battle armor and stuff, it's an absolute beast. But I don't know. I mean, 10 medium lasers is nothing to sniff at.
See, one of the things that new players sometimes have a bit of difficulty with, and I see a lot of people doing videos and tactical analysis and stuff, is the fact that everything has a different range.
Yeah.
Right? He does 50 points of damage, but he can only do it out to 9 hexes. But hopefully, we're going to be within 9 hexes of each other for almost the whole game.
Yeah, true.
Right? Those 8 turns are going to be very, very frantic, and I want to be able to put people down right now. Yeah. Not in 2 or 3 turns. I want to do it now. And that is a unit that will do it. That's 1,533 BV. Now, those of you who watched our turret video will know that I miscalculated my BV that I got for the turrets. I adjusted it so that it came to, I still have 4 turrets, but it comes to now 388 instead of 248. I've therefore had to adjust my Komodo pilot from a 2-2 to a 2-3.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm horrified.
No.
I'm not happy. I wanted him to be able to, like, death from above really, really easily. So that cost me 2,575 BV.
Wow. So half your points on one mech.
Yep. Then I thought, well, what's cool, what's funky, what have I got lying around that's painted that is kind of fun, right? That I like. That's cool. And can bounce around, because I know you're going to have people bouncing around, and that has some accurate weapons. Doesn't have to necessarily do a lot of damage, but nice accurate weapons, because we know what my dice rolls are like. And I got this guy.
Oh, that looks cool, eh?
Yeah, that's one that I bought from the dude at TGO. So this isn't my paint job. Neither of these are my paint job. So, but that is a really nice paint job on that Venom.
Yeah.
So
Venom, okay. I remember this being quite fast.
yeah, I think he's a 711-7, but I can't remember. That's 798 BV normally. It's just 4 medium pulse lasers and like a butt ton of jump jets. And that's all it is. But 4 medium pulse lasers is 4 medium pulse lasers. I mean, it's 4 medium pulse lasers.
Yeah.
What are they, like 6 a shot damage-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 damage. So the range is a lot shorter, but who cares? With that sort of speed,
I can get
you
in
can get where you
close
need to
and
go.
do that. And so that's normally 798 BV. I put a 3-4 pilot in there, and it's now 1,053 BV.
that's good value, isn't it? That is good value. All the clan players are, it's so cheap.
Yeah. It's not bringing anything huge down by itself, but it can do some reliable damage. This guy does a lot, but with my dice rolls, I'm probably going to miss with like half of those medium lasers every turn.
Yeah.
Right? This guy, I'm hoping, will give me consistent damage. Now, you are not going to like this.
I don't like this. I've already seen these two and I don't like
You're not going to like this. Straight after I thought Hunchback, before I even thought Komodo, something that's been in the comments and junk around the place came up into my head, and I thought, you know what, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. It makes sense to take this unit. And then the narrative in my head that involved these two guys arguing about who was going to have to go out first developed into them having an argument with the guy in the prison's armory about what he had available. And what he had available turns out to have been one of these. That is an SRM carrier.
SRM carrier.
So there's 10 SRM 6s on there.
That's ridiculous. Now, okay, yeah. What?
It's 10 SRM 6s, that's 60 potential missiles.
Yeah, one. Okay.
So it's 120 potential damage. That's just the bog standard base level SRM carrier. It's 816 BV.
I also remember these being a little bit wafer thin in the armour.
Oh, it's going to die in like the first 2 rounds. If you've got any sense at all, you will drop that first shot you get. But I'm hoping it gets at least one go at you, because I want to watch something vaporize. It's stupid. I shouldn't take it. I should have taken like a commando or something that'll last longer and has slightly less like missiles. But if I can get that to go off on the biggest threat, then that threat will vaporize. If I can get it to go off on 2 at once, I'm happy.
You know, for someone who doesn't have much luck with dice rolling, you've picked probably the one unit in the game that requires you to roll the most amount of dice.
But if I have enough dice, maybe I'll get 1 or 2 of them to hit.
Oh, maybe.
And if I can get 1 or 2 of them to hit, say 4 times in there, then I'm okay.
Oh, man.
Even if I miss with half the missiles. Right? That's still 30 missiles.
Being turret mounted too is just really handy. You can
I don't think the original SRM carrier has a rotating turret.
Oh, really?
It's only front face. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I'll have it.
So I put a 3-5 crew in there, and that's 979 BV.
Just
and then,
under 2 mil. Oh, it's 60 tons. That's quite heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same chassis as the LRM, isn't it?
It's basically the same chassis as the LRM carrier, but they swapped the weaponry.
Yeah.
And I don't think it comes on with a turret. I don't think it's got a turret. It should tell you. But if you add in the 388 for my 4 laser turrets, I get that one group, Force 1, out to 4,995 BV.
Says forward firing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so that isn't on a turret. So you have to maneuver it and then...
Doesn't the LRM carrier, isn't that a turret?
Nope.
It's not.
No. I think the...
What about the
Is the
heavy?
heavy
There's the heavy one that
I think the
periphery
heavy
design?
version has a turret, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% on that one. I know the LRM carrier doesn't have a turret. And I've always been fairly certain he doesn't, but the light SRM carrier, which is a wheeled vehicle, does.
So you don't have a 4th unit?
I do not have a 4th unit. I have a Komodo with a 2-3 pilot, I have a Venom with a 3-4 pilot, and I have an SRM carrier with a 3-5 crew, and I have 4 laser turrets. And that is all I've got for Force 1. But that was... I had this whole narrative. I started typing it out, actually, in the story out. Like this guy arguing with the armory guys on the phone and saying, "What? You've got what? Get it ready." And then drag this out of the thing. If you want it, you can have it. We didn't think you'd use it. Are you kidding me?
All right. So to help everyone at home, all right, let's go over the pros and the cons of this force before we go on to the others. All right. So let's start. Komodo. We talked a bit before,
yeah.
but
High damage, not very long range. Well, very, very short range, but that won't be an issue here. It's fairly thin armor, as far as I remember. It isn't like super heavy armored for its weight class, but it's respectable. I don't think it's like super under armored either. I think it's just got like just slightly less than average or something. So it's not bad off. It was originally used for hunting down battle armor, but it is perfectly capable of delivering a lot of damage to one thing if it feels like it.
yeah.
So I for an enclosed area, I like it for that. I reckon it's cool. And it's one of my favorites because it's got tag and ECM and AMS on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just cool.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. Okay.
The Venom is accurate. It's fast, it's maneuverable, and you're going to be bringing... Like I said, I've got some guesses on what you're going to be bringing, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty maneuverable. So I wanted something that could keep up with the bouncing, and I wanted something that would get me consistent damage even with crappy dice rolls. So the -2 for the pulse lasers is what I was really going for. I wanted something fairly low BV. It is low BV. It's only 798 for the standard crew, the standard mech warrior, but that would give me reasonably consistent damage. It's not got very much armor, and it's fairly easy to bring down. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but hopefully it'll be able to get in around and maneuver around people and get me a couple of kill shots maybe. Whereas this guy's melting them, he's hopefully going to be precision cutting them.
Yeah.
And then the SRM carrier is just like 60 tons of hate in a box.
That's right. Yeah, a glass cannon kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford a hatred, as they're called, but I could get one. So we've got a slightly miffed of SRM carriers. How's that sound?
Being tracked is good though. It's a bit more resilient, even though the arm is, not as heavy as you probably want it. But being a tracked chassis, if you do, because we're probably going to have woods around and whatever else it is, because it's still outside, but I don't think it'll get out
With
there.
the amount of armor you've got there, you've probably got one round to get something dead.
Yeah.
If the enemy is really seriously going, oh my god, that's an SRM carrier, bring it down, then it's not going to last long.
No.
If they're distracted by other stuff, or they're doing other stuff, then you might manage to get 2 or 3 rounds worth of shots. But I sincerely doubt anyone would ever let an SRM carrier live more than a couple of rounds, because there's just too much potential damage there.
You sure you don't want to rip that turret off and swap it with one of the other ones?
No.
2 medium lasers seems a lot better
Hey,
to go
you're
after.
lucky. I was originally thinking of getting minefields involved here, so you just count your blessings, young man. I was going to have an LRM carrier parked on one of the walls with like Thunder LRM.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right, so Komodo, Venom, and an SRM carrier.
That is Force 1. That's the only one I actually bought minis for, although I do use the SRM carrier a couple of times, I have to say, and the Komodo as well, because they're, I think for this style of scenario, they're a good choice. And like we put in the Lance building one of the main factors is, what does the scenario need me to do? And mine needs me to do a hell of a lot of damage at very short range, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Okay, so that's Force 1.
So
4,995 BV.
So Force Beta.
Force
Let's have a look at
Beta.
Beta.
00002. I thought I would go silly on this one, but I would not go super silly. Okay, so I've got an SRM carrier in this one as well.
All right.
Right, not super silly. 35979 BV. Not fantastically awful, right? I wanted a hunchback in at least one of mine, so I put it in this one. So I have a hunchback. I got the 4P, which is
That's
one of
the laser one.
which is one of the swaybacks, which is what they call the ones that don't use the Act 20. And it's one that has colloquially been termed the disco back because was like 8 medium lasers instead of the the Act 20. Normally that would be 1138. I put a 3.2 pilot in there for 1,718. So that's like a boatload of lasers.
Yeah, it is.
Technically, it's enough lasers to do more damage than the Act 20. If they all hit.
Yeah.
If they all hit, that's more damage than the Act 20 in my head. And then I thought, well, close combat, slow movement, big damage, cheap. What do I need? What do I need? What do I need? Aha! Urban mechs.
Oh!
So I wanted the was it the R80?
Oh, is that the... Yeah,
Whichever
yeah.
one it is with the snub-nosed PPC. Right, I think it's the 80, I can't remember, but it's in master unit list as 3071.
Ah,
So I couldn't take it because we capped it at 3070, and I'm like,
yeah.
But the snub-nosed PPC would have been perfect.
Yeah. The technology was around before that
Yeah.
date, but the actual combination
the-
of weapon and chassis
That
was
particular
not.
chassis didn't come out until it's listed as 3071, and that's what I go by. So unfortunately, I couldn't take that. What I could take was 2 other variants.
Ooh.
I took a 63. The R63 is the one with the LBX 10.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 63 is the LBX version. That's 540 BB. Now I had to adjust his skill. He went from a 1.3 at just over 1,000 to a 2.3 at just under 1,000. And that saved me from having to muck around with my turrets. So I've got a 2.3 pilot there.
Oh, 2-3 versus VTOLs would be fantastic.
With the LBX, yep. And then against mechs, because
yeah.
I'm fairly certain you're just going to take mechs, but we'll see how we do. The R68 is the MRM version. So there's an MRM 30 on there as its main weapon. And I think it's got like a couple of small lasers or something silly like that. But the MRM 30 was the main thing. That's a cluster roll, which sucks.
Yeah, it does.
But the SRM carrier is all cluster rolls.
Yeah.
So that is, it's not that bad.
Well, it's good for me because you've got like a penalty to shoot that.
Yeah, it's a +1.
+1.
Yeah.
But
I put a 2.2 pilot in there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 987 BV.
the thing doesn't move fast enough to really worry about it. It's one of those mechs where you sort of get it into a position and just do your best
Yep.
to kill what's coming at you.
And that's why I was quite happy to take 2 of them. Because the initial value is under 1,000. They're 500 and something each. And so even adjusting their skills, you can keep them under 1,000. And that means that if you build a lance and I've got a couple of hundred for the things, I'm keeping it under that 5,000. So the average roll for the 30s is 18.
Yeah.
And the lowest you can get is 10. So hopefully that works out quite well. But I've got 2 of them, so I can position them around so that they each get a decent attack.
God, that's nasty.
Yeah, so that is Force 2. And again, that was mainly just, I need to be able to do big damage in close really quickly. That 4P Hunchback is just... And I put the piloting down lower because I want him to be able to get in and punch as well. Because all of those lasers are on the torso.
Right, okay, that's good.
So he can still punch and kick and junk like that. And the Hunchback doesn't have like a super punch, but he's a solid mech. What was it, like 50 tons? So...
Well, that's still 2 punches. You can do 2 punches with that.
Exactly. You punch someone twice with a 50-ton mech and then vaporize armor with 8 medium lasers.
Like medium lasers, medium pulse lasers, medium lasers seem to be a pretty popular choice for your 2 forces so far. And they're a good weapon.
And SRMs, obviously.
And same sort of ranges and stuff.
But it's... Like
but
I
it's
say,
5 damage. 5. They're 6 on, obviously, if you take the venom. But 5 is still pretty good.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, the medium laser is probably the one that you want to move towards. I mean, it was, the Act 20 was very, very tempting. I was very tempted to take just the OG Hunchback with the Act 20 and the medium laser or whatever he's got, and a small, and just try and punch like a big hole through whatever jumps over the fortress wall.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, you can't multi that, right? I can't shoot that at 2 different things, technically. We're not using those rules. So with the 4P, I could fire, say, 6 medium lasers at him and put 2 over here as well.
Yeah.
Right? I can turn one of them off. I can keep using them. But there's no ammo.
No, that's right.
And I think the original Hunchback has 2 tons of ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's... Yeah, Case wasn't around then.
No. And so that's only 10 shots. I mean, we've only got 8 rounds to play.
Yeah.
But it's only 10 shots. So I was like, well, I'm allowed to take BattleTech, so why don't I look through the list of things? And I saw the swaybacks all there, and I'm like, oh, I know that one.
Yeah.
I think I might even have a sheet for that one, so I'm taking that one. Stuff.
Yeah.
So Force 2, or Beta, or B,
Bravo,
or
Bravo.
the second one, comes to 4,979. It's a 4P Hunchback, an SRM carrier, and 2 urban mechs, the R63 and the R68, LBX cannon and MRM launcher. And hopefully that's a fun one.
So much damage.
The third one...
I think that might actually be a popular choice with people, simply because it's the urban mech, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say that
The first plushie mech, first...
The memes. Just the memes. I quite like this configuration here. I think that could do some serious damage, but I actually do quite like this as well. So, you know, and I've got 4 units there then.
Yeah, that's right. Having 4 units is actually nice.
Because we did set that as a maximum, which means Adam's probably taken 4. So the third one I took, I thought, well, let's maximize the hatred. And I got 2 SRM carriers instead of 1. But I put, I originally put 2 4 crews in there, which is 1,256 per unit. And then I added in a mech, and I added in the Komodo. Right, so there's 2 SRM carriers and a Komodo, and the Komodo originally had a 3-3 pilot in there. So there was 2 4 SRM carriers and 1 3-3 Komodo. But with the adjustment that I had to make, that has gone to a 2-3 Komodo, which is 2,575. So I actually improved the Komodo because I had to reduce the SRM carrier. So I dropped them to 3-5, which is 979. That's what I've done for all of them. I put 3-5 unit pretty much across the board for the SRM carriers. So that's 979 each for those.
Damn.
So that is a Komodo, and
Oh.
2 SRM carriers. And that is my third force. That's it. Plus 4 turrets, obviously. But yeah, 3-5, 2-3. And again, that's a lot of damage coming out of him in a single turn, and it's able to be split.
And great gunnery.
And a good solid
pilot.
2 gunnery. And the ECM, which I can flick to ECCM to block you coming in and spotting the dude instantly. So you have to drop him.
Try and do something
before you can actually pick up the thing, unless you've got multiple ECMs, which is entirely possible. And then reasonable crews in these. The gunnery was the main thing. That's why I've kept the rule of 2, because that's just automatic with us at this point. So you keep your skills within 2 points of each other. So there's 3-5 crews in those.
Yeah.
And that's not a whiff every time. You're going to hit with a fair few of those, especially if somebody jumps down in front of you. Like if I've got a decent field of view.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And you go, whoa!
Yeah. So vehicles have a smaller fire arc to the front, so
Yes.
that's something you have to keep.
So you
in
have to
mind.
go out one and then you spread. I think.
yeah.
So it's a bit iffy,
Okay.
but I mean,
Oh God, I don't know. They're all good. I mean, the second one gives you four units.
4 units,
which is pretty good. But I don't know. The first and the third one,
they'd be interesting.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
This one, Force 3, Force C, Force Charlie. Charlie Squad comes to 4,921.
Rightio.
So, yeah. Those are the options. Again, lots of damage, very close range, but that is kind of what was taken in. I could have taken my awesome, but if I take the standard awesome, it's standard PPCs, which means everyone within 3 hexes of me gets a minimum range penalty. I could have taken LRMs, which I usually take. I could have taken Fascum rounds. I could have taken my Thunder rounds, all that sort of stuff. 3 options. I don't know, well, maybe like I'll write them down or something and we can put them on the screen. But we're then going to do a poll. We'll just call them Force 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
You have to come and watch this video and then go do the poll.
Yep.
And decide.
Pick for Tarron which one you want him to take against me. We're intentionally not telling you what I'm taking. Mine's locked in, it doesn't matter. I can't change my mind. Tarron doesn't know what he's going up against. I will reveal it after it's been chosen, because that's fair. You know, he's got to know what's going on.
Yep.
And then we'll go into our battle.
If you vote, you will have an impact on what happens in this game.
And make a comment. It'd be helpful if you could make a few points as to why you picked what you picked. You know, even if it's maybe you disagree with some of the choices with it and say, oh, you know,
I
whatever.
disagree with all of them. There's a little part of me that goes, that's so bloody stupid, Tarron.
Yeah. So that's it. So there we go. So go do that. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
And thank you for supporting the channel. We do appreciate that because it helps us a lot.
Yeah.
And we're glad that you're enjoying the content because, you know, we enjoy making them. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.